In this video, I want to teach you how to feather your clutch to go even faster on your dirt bike. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. This is going to be a huge tip for when you're coming out of the corners or if you find yourself in the wrong gear out on the tracks and trails. Feathering your clutch is actually going to be a great way to raise your RPM level and really get the bike accelerating properly. When we're feathering our clutch, especially when coming out of a corner, we're going to want to not pull it in all the way. We're actually going to be pulling the clutch in just slightly and even using our throttle at the same time. Just like whenever we're using the clutch to get the bike rolling into motion and you feel that point of motion and we're having to apply throttle, well, now we're actually going to do this but in the opposite effect. Let's say we're coming through a corner and we pull in our clutch to make sure that we don't stall the dirt bike. Well, now as we're coming out of the corner, we're actually going to, instead of slightly apply some throttle, we're going to use a little bit more throttle or even just kind of rev the motor and then let the clutch out in a little bit faster way. Since we already have the rear wheel spinning, we shouldn't stall the bike as we release the clutch. However, we're actually going to be using our clutch to raise the RPMs, and then as we release the clutch, it's going to actually help our bike accelerate even faster. So what we're going to do whenever we're doing this in a corner is actually going to be pulling the clutch as we're coming into that corner and getting on the brakes. And then once we're coming out of the corner, we're actually going to just use your finger to barely pull it in as you still have that throttle on. As you pull that clutch in, help raise the RPM level, and then as you let that clutch right back out, it's going to help the bike accelerate. This is going to be a big thing for whenever really trying to improve your corner speed and improve your acceleration when coming out of the corners as well. You do want to be careful with this because if you do pull the clutch in too far and you accelerate too hard and then pop the clutch out, it's going to accelerate in a much higher way wanting to pick up the front wheel. But when we feather the clutch like this, we're not going to pull it all the way in, and we're going to just kind of like use the clutch with the throttle to tap it, and you will hear and feel the RPMs raise on your dirt bike. And then as you release the clutch, you're going to really be getting a good drive coming out of that corner. We're also going to be kind of feathering the clutch even whenever we start rolling on the dirt bike as well. As you release it slowly, all the way to that point of motion and then actually use the clutch to let out the rest of the way, this is still going to be the same technique because we're going to be feathering the clutch instead of just releasing it completely. So anytime that we are just barely pulling our clutch in and just using that little end motion just to kind of engage the clutch a little bit to help raise the RPMs or even get the bike rolling into motion for the first time is all going to tie in to feathering the clutch. We can also feather the clutch whenever we're in too high of a gear and that we need to raise the RPMs to get better acceleration. To do this is like if you're going up a steep hill or something and you feel the RPM starting to drop, you can either shift down or sometimes you might find it easier just to kind of tap your clutch and feather it as well. This feathering technique is really going to help you raise those RPMs and try to get you back to where you can climb this hill instead of continue losing acceleration going up the hill. However, if you're in too high of a gear and you're climbing too big of a hill, this isn't going to be enough to actually help you and you're going to have to downshift. But just knowing how you have the feathering technique to be able to improve that acceleration could really help you out on the tracks and trails, especially when climbing a big hill, coming into a jump, and that's really going to make all the difference in the world whenever we're out there riding. So work on feathering the clutch whenever you feel like your RPMs are too low or if you're coming out of a corner because this is really going to help you get that good drive and acceleration that you're looking for. Is this video already helping you? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Other things that we can do whenever we're feathering our clutch is going to be like if we're in a hard obstacle where our rear wheel starts to slow down. If we're in a high gear and we come into like a river crossing or if we're out on a trail and we're gonna be going over a log or a rocky section, it's good to know how to feather your clutch because not only can we use this to get more acceleration out of the bike, we can also use this technique to keep the dirt bike from stalling. So whenever we're coming into a river crossing and you're going from probably a little bit higher speed to dropping your speed as you're going through the river, just knowing how to use your clutch with your fingers and knowing how to just kind of keep the RPMs at a good level so that the dirt bike doesn't stall can really help you out as well. When you're doing this, you're going to want to make sure that you're coming in a good gear already, and you're going to want to hold your momentum as you're going through these river crossings. This way you don't end up having to put your feet down in the water and getting your feet all wet. And if we slow down in the river, knowing how to feather the clutch like this can keep you from stalling the dirt bike, which is really going to give you some soupy socks. The same applies for if we're in like a heavy rock garden or something like that and we're really having to bounce through these obstacles, because if you're going through them without any clutch whatsoever, sometimes it's pretty easy to stall the dirt bike. So as you can see, the clutch is really how we keep from stalling our dirt bike, especially when we're having to go from higher speeds to lower speeds to possibly stopping. And it's going to take a lot of clutch control to really maneuver the bike through these obstacles. However, if you work on just feathering the clutch a little bit, raising the RPMs and keeping them a little bit higher, or if you feel like the dirt bike's kind of slowing down, the rear wheel's starting to spin slower as you're in a higher gear, you can use this feathering technique to really keep the dirt bike from stalling, and it's going to make your life so much better out on the tracks and trails. There are limitless other options for using the feathering technique like this to improve your riding and make you faster on your dirt bike. However, the more you do use this clutch, you're going to want to not wear it out, because it's definitely going to heat up your motor, and that's really not what we're going for. What I'm trying to teach you here is that you can use the clutch in these kind of ways to help save you from stalling your dirt bike, but you really don't want to be wearing out your clutch while you're out on the tracks and trails. This is something you're going to learn and develop a good sense for over time. But at the beginning here, just know that you have this as an option for if you're coming out of corners, going up steep hills, river crossings, coming up to a jump if you're in the wrong gear, and there's so many other options. So just knowing how to use this clutch in this kind of way is really going to make you much more comfortable on your dirt bike. If this video helped you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. If you're still looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website, and it'll walk you through being a complete beginner and take you to an advanced rider mastering the tracks and trails. I also give away a free dirt bike guide. All you have to do is sign up for the email list, and I'll send it straight to you. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.